Company laptops are tools for work. They are not personal devices. Companies need to protect their data. They also need to ensure laptops are used properly. This is why they use restrictions. These restrictions limit what you can do with the laptop. Understanding these limits is very important for every employee. It helps avoid problems with security and company rules. These rules are there for a reason, mostly to keep company information safe from many kinds of threats. Several methods are used to enforce these restrictions. Mobile device management, or MDM, is a common one. It allows companies to control laptops remotely. Domain binding connects the laptop to the company's network. This enforces network policies directly. BIOS or UEFI locks prevent changes at a very basic hardware level. Disk encryption protects the data stored on the laptop's hard drive. Each of these methods plays a specific role in securing the device and the information it contains, creating layers of protection for company assets. These security measures are not just about control, they are about managing risks. A lost or stolen laptop can mean a serious data breach. Unauthorized software can introduce malware, incorrect configurations can create vulnerabilities. Company restrictions aim to reduce these dangers significantly. They help maintain a secure computing environment for everyone. Every user plays a part in upholding this security by following the set guidelines and understanding the purpose behind them. Therefore, it is crucial to know how these systems work. This knowledge helps you use your company laptop correctly. It also helps you understand your responsibilities. If you need more freedom on your laptop, there are proper channels to ask. Trying to bypass restrictions without permission is a bad idea. It can lead to serious consequences for you and for the company. This guide will explain these common restrictions in more detail for your understanding. Mobile device management, known as MDM, is a powerful tool. Companies use it to manage and secure their mobile devices. This includes laptops, tablets, and smartphones. MDM software allows IT administrators to control devices from a central location. They can configure settings, install or remove software, and enforce security policies. This means your company laptop is constantly under company supervision for security. It ensures that all devices adhere to the company's established security standards and operational protocols. The purpose of MDM is multifaceted. It enhances security by ensuring devices are compliant with company policies. For example, an IT department can enforce strong password requirements. They can also restrict access to certain websites or applications. If a laptop is lost or stolen, MDM can be used to remotely lock or even wipe the data from the device. This capability is crucial for preventing sensitive company information from falling into the wrong hands and protecting intellectual property. MDM systems work by installing a special agent or profile on the company laptop. This agent communicates with the central MDM server. Through this connection, the server can send commands and configurations to the laptop. This allows for real-time management and monitoring. For instance, security patches and software updates can be deployed automatically. This ensures that the laptop's software is always up to date and less vulnerable to known exploits, maintaining a strong security posture across all managed devices. Common MDM features include application management. This means the company can decide which apps you can install or use. They might block social media apps or games. MDM can also track device location, though this is more common for phones. It can enforce encryption and manage Wi-Fi and VPN settings. All these features give the company fine-grained control over the device. This control is exercised to protect company assets and ensure the device is used primarily for business purposes, as intended. Domain binding is another key method companies use to control laptops. When a laptop is domain-bound, it means it is joined to the company's specific network domain. This domain is usually managed by Microsoft Active Directory or a similar service. Binding a laptop to a domain allows the company to manage user accounts centrally. It also allows them to apply group policies across many computers at once. This creates a uniform and controlled environment for all users connected to the network. The primary purpose of domain binding is to enhance security and manageability. Once a laptop is part of the domain, users typically need to log in with their company credentials. These credentials are authenticated by the domain controller. This ensures that only authorized individuals can access the laptop and the company network resources. It also provides a clear audit trail of user activity, which can be important for security investigations and compliance requirements. This central authentication is a cornerstone of corporate network security. Domain binding allows IT administrators to enforce consistent security settings. They can use group policy objects or GPOs to configure various aspects of the operating system. This includes things like password complexity rules and screen lock timeouts. They can also restrict access to certain system settings or control panel applets. This prevents users from making changes that could compromise security or stability. These GPOs ensure that all devices on the network meet a minimum security baseline, reducing overall risk. Furthermore, domain binding simplifies software deployment and updates. It can push software installations or patches to all domain-joined computers simultaneously. This ensures that all systems are running approved software versions. It also helps in maintaining compliance with software licensing. If a user leaves the company, their domain account can be easily disabled. This immediately revokes their access to domain-joined laptops and network resources, a critical step in the offboarding process for security. BIOS, or Basic Input-Output System, or UEFI, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, locks provide a fundamental layer of security. The BIOS UEFI is firmware. It is the first software that runs when you turn on your computer. It initializes the hardware before the operating system starts. Companies can set passwords at the BIOS UEFI level. This prevents unauthorized users from changing critical system settings. It is a very deep level of control, securing the machine before Windows or macOS even load. The main purpose of a BIOS UEFI password is to restrict access to the firmware settings. Without this password, no one can change the boot order. This means they cannot boot the laptop from a USB drive or an external hard disk. This is important because booting from an external device could bypass operating system security. It could also be used to install unauthorized software or even a different operating system. Such locks make it much harder for someone to tamper with the core configuration of the laptop. These locks also prevent unauthorized hardware modifications. Some BIOS UEFI settings control hardware components. For example, they might disable certain ports like USB or Ethernet, or they might prevent changes to the internal hard drive configuration. By password protecting the BIOS UEFI, companies ensure that the hardware configuration remains as intended by the IT department. This helps maintain the integrity and security of the physical device itself, preventing internal threats or unauthorized upgrades that could introduce vulnerabilities. UEFI offers more advanced security features compared to the older BIOS. One such feature is Secure Boot. Secure Boot ensures that the device boots only using software that is trusted by the PC manufacturer or the company. It checks for digital signatures on bootloaders and operating system files. If any component has been tampered with or is not signed, Secure Boot will prevent the system from starting. This provides strong protection against rootkits and other malware that try to load before the operating system. Section 5. Disk encryption, protecting data at rest. Disk encryption is a critical security measure for company laptops. It protects the data stored on the laptop's hard drive or solid-state drive. If a laptop is lost or stolen, disk encryption ensures that the data remains unreadable to unauthorized individuals. Even if someone removes the hard drive from the laptop, they cannot access the files without the encryption key or password. This makes the physical theft of the device much less of a data security crisis for the organization. The primary purpose of disk encryption is to protect data confidentiality. Company laptops often contain sensitive information. This can include customer data, financial records, intellectual property, and strategic plans. A data breach can have severe consequences. These include financial losses, reputational damage, and legal penalties. Full disk encryption tools like BitLocker for Windows or FileVault for macOS encrypt the entire drive. This means all files, including the operating system itself, are protected automatically and transparently to the authorized user. Disk encryption works by converting plaintext data into ciphertext using an encryption algorithm and a key. To read the data, you need the correct decryption key. This key is often tied to the user's login password or a separate recovery key. Companies usually manage these recovery keys centrally. This allows IT to recover data if an employee forgets their password or leaves the company. The encryption process happens in real time, so it doesn't usually slow down the computer noticeably for the user during normal operation. Enforcing disk encryption is a standard practice for most organizations today. It is often a requirement for regulatory compliance, such as with GDPR or HIPAA. These regulations mandate the protection of personal and sensitive data. By encrypting laptops, companies demonstrate due diligence in safeguarding information. It is one of the most effective ways to mitigate the risk of data exposure from lost or stolen devices. Without it, a simple lost laptop could turn into a major security incident and public relations disaster. Section 6. The authorized path safely removing restrictions. If you need laptop restrictions removed, there is a correct way to do it. This always involves getting authorization from your company. Typically, this means contacting the IT department or your manager. You'll need to explain why you need the restrictions lifted. For example, you might need to install specific software for a project, or perhaps you're leaving the company and returning the laptop. Unauthorized attempts to remove restrictions can cause many problems, so always seek permission first. Before any restrictions are removed, it is vital to prepare. The most important preparation step is backing up your data. Even with authorized changes, things can sometimes go wrong. You do not want to lose important files. Back up your work-related documents, project files, and any other critical data. Your company may have specific procedures or tools for backing up data. Follow these guidelines carefully. This ensures that if the removal process encounters an issue, your valuable information remains safe and recoverable. Once you have authorization and have backed up your data, the IT department will handle the removal process. They have the necessary tools and knowledge. They know how to disable MDM profiles correctly. They can unbind the laptop from the domain. They can also remove BIOS or UEFI passwords and decrypt the hard drive if needed. Do not attempt these procedures yourself unless specifically instructed and guided by IT. They understand the dependencies and potential pitfalls of these technical operations. The exact steps for removing restrictions will vary. It depends on the specific methods used and the company's policies. For instance, removing MDM might involve uninstalling an agent or deleting a configuration profile. Decrypting a disk can take a long time depending on the drive size. The IT team will follow their established protocols. Be patient and cooperate with them. Their goal is to fulfill your authorized request while maintaining the overall security and integrity of company systems. Section 7. Navigating roadblocks. When restrictions persist. Sometimes, even after authorized attempts, laptop restrictions might remain. This can be frustrating. Perhaps the MDM profile reasserts itself after a reboot. Maybe the disk decryption process fails partway through, or a forgotten BIOS password prevents necessary changes. These situations can occur due to complex configurations or unforeseen technical glitches. It is important not to panic or try increasingly aggressive methods on your own if this happens. Such actions could make the situation worse. If restrictions persist, the first and most crucial step is to contact your IT department again. Explain the problem clearly. Tell them what was attempted and what the current status is. Provide any error messages or specific symptoms you are observing. The IT team has more advanced diagnostic tools and deeper knowledge of the systems. They are better equipped to troubleshoot these persistent issues. They may need to try different methods or escalate the problem to a specialist. Avoid trying to find solutions online and applying them yourself. Many online guides might suggest risky procedures. These could include editing the system registry, deleting system files, or using third-party tools of unknown origin. Such actions can damage the operating system. They might even render the laptop unusable. Furthermore, these actions could violate company policy, even if your initial intent was to fix an authorized change. Always rely on your company's official IT support channels for assistance. In some cases, the IT department might determine that a complete system re-image is necessary. This means they will wipe the laptop's hard drive and reinstall the operating system from scratch. This is often the quickest way to resolve deep-seated configuration problems. This is another reason why backing up your data beforehand is so important. If a reimage is needed, you will be glad your files are safe. Trust the IT department's judgment on the best course of action to resolve the stubborn restrictions. Section 8. The forbidden route: risks of unauthorized tampering. Attempting to bypass company laptop restrictions without permission is a very bad idea. It carries significant risks. Companies implement these restrictions for valid reasons. These include protecting sensitive data, ensuring network security, and maintaining compliance with legal regulations. Trying to circumvent these measures is often seen as a serious breach of company policy. It can also be a breach of your employment contract, which usually outlines acceptable use of company property. The most immediate risk is to your job. Most companies have strict policies regarding the unauthorized modification of IT assets. If you're caught trying to remove restrictions, you could face disciplinary action. This could range from a formal warning to suspension or even termination of employment. The company might view your actions as an attempt to misuse company property or expose it to unnecessary risk. The potential career consequences far outweigh any perceived benefit of bypassing the rules. Beyond employment issues, there are potential legal risks. If your actions lead to a data breach or damage to company systems, the company might take legal action against you. This is especially true if you access data you are not authorized to see, or if you install software that introduces malware onto the company network. Depending on the severity, this could involve civil lawsuits for damages. In extreme cases involving theft of trade secrets or malicious damage, criminal charges could even be a possibility. Moreover, unauthorized tampering can cause practical problems. You might inadvertently damage the laptop's operating system or hardware. This could make the laptop unusable, requiring costly repairs by the IT department. You might also accidentally delete important company data, which could have serious operational impacts. The tools and techniques often described online for bypassing restrictions are not foolproof. They can easily lead to unintended consequences, creating more problems than they solve and drawing unwanted attention to your actions. Section 9. Ownership and obligations, company laptops and your rights. It is important to remember who owns the company laptop. In most cases, the laptop is the property of the company, not the employee. This means the company has the right to define how it is used. They can set policies and implement technical restrictions to enforce those policies. Your use of the laptop is generally governed by an acceptable use policy. You likely agreed to this policy when you joined the company or received the equipment. Understanding this ownership is key. Your primary obligation is to use the laptop for legitimate business purposes. You must also adhere to all security policies. This includes not attempting to disable security software or bypass restrictions. While the laptop is a tool for your work, it is also a gateway to the company's valuable data and network resources. Therefore, your actions have broader implications for the organization's security posture. If you have personal needs that conflict with company policy, discuss them with your manager or IT, rather than taking matters into your own hands. What about your rights? As an employee, you have the right to be informed about company policies. You should know what is considered acceptable use and what is not. You also have a right to expect that the laptop provided is suitable for your work tasks. If restrictions are genuinely hindering your ability to perform your job effectively, you have the right to request a review. This should be done through official channels. Companies usually have processes for exceptions if there is a valid business justification. Ultimately, the relationship is one of trust and responsibility. The company trusts you with its asset and its data. You have a responsibility to use it wisely and securely. Restrictions are part of this framework. They are not usually meant to make your job harder. They are there to protect the company as a whole. If the laptop is employee-owned but managed by the company, a BYOD scenario with MDM, the terms of that agreement will specify the company's rights to manage and secure the device when it accesses corporate resources. Always refer to company IT policy.